So today we are going to take a look at Platinum Dragonlord and his role in the history of the New World. And the first thing that was astonishing to me is just how much info about him is buried in backstories of other characters. This info is therefore quite vague, but this kind of narrative also turns him into a bigger threat to Nazarick than he probably is. He's like a looming shadow, a being that heavily redirected the course of history in his favor. And while most of the infos we have are implied or indirect, we can nonetheless read between the lines to unravel his motivation and his plan. First and foremost, he's been around for quite a while. And he has seen some shit. He likely witnessed the dawn of the 6 great gods. He saw how only 6 beings saved mankind from certain death, and not only that, but they also wielded incredible physical strength, and not only that, but they also wielded incredible physical strength, and perhaps even more dreadful, strange magic based not on souls, but on mana and tears. At that point in time, this concept was completely alien to the New World. To us, this would be like koalas not only stopped being an endangered species, but they suddenly turned militant and developed plasma weapons in order to challenge the emus for supremacy in Australia. Remember, before the 6 players appeared in the New World, humans were almost wiped out, and now they started to grow and expand. Platinum Dragonlord was likely astonished by this unbelievable chain of events. Suddenly humans became a potential threat to the dragons, and therefore he might have been very relieved as 5 of them succumbed to old age and only Surshana remained. But just 100 years after the advent of the 6 great gods, a flying city suddenly manifested itself in the night sky, and 8 powerful beings emerged from it, leading an army of unprecedented might and scale. They easily defeated Surshana, and then these mere humans would challenge the supremacy of the Dragonlords themselves. This very likely deeply traumatized Platinum. I mean, think of it. His parents, his brothers and sisters, his friends and relatives, all perished under the might of a full-blown Yggdrasil invasion, and despite all of their strength and their millennia-old belief in their own invincibility, the Dragonlords would fall, and Platinum Dragonlord would bear witness to these events. Imagine what this did to him. He was born a dragon, the most powerful creature in existence. His kind ruled the New World for aeons. Imagine what effect this war in heavens had on him, his entire society, and his entire worldview. All things he held dear were obliterated by the hand of an enemy previously unknown. An enemy that just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. And during this time of conquest, of defeat, all he could do was to passively observe or die in an open battle. Because even mighty as he was, Platinum Dragonlord is still no match for the combined might of the 8 Great Kings. But another dragon was able to defeat a player with a world-class item 2 centuries later, Deep Darkness Dragonlord. Before Ainz embarked on an expedition into the mountains in order to establish a more or less diplomatic relationship with the Dwarven Kingdom, he was presented with a map of the Forest of Top. This region had now thoroughly been scouted, explored and mapped, and it was discovered that beneath the forest lies a secret dungeon, where Deep Darkness Dragonlord dwells to this very day, either in deep slumber or alive and plotting, and Platinum Dragonlord knows about him, and the Theocracy does as well, which is why they sent out the Black Scripture in the first place. So we now know that dragons on their very own are able to defeat a player with a world-class item, and because world items are so incredibly rare, the player should also have reached level 100, and therefore Platinum Dragonlord might have been able to do the same thing, and killed one of the 8 Great Kings. But he couldn't have done it out in the open, since that would have earned him nothing but death and damnation. And that's where Platinum's power armor comes into play. He might have used it in order to engage and kill a king and take his items. Alternatively, one of the kings stumbled upon Platinum's lair on their very own, and the armor was part of the items he wielded. And it might have even been a world-class item. I mean, we already know about such an item that can be worn as a dress. And it was once stated that world-class items are best used to combat other world-class items. So while Downfall of Castle and Country, aka this dress here, can be worn in order to mind control people, the armor might be remote controlled via the mind of its owner, without the need to put it on. And as long as the link between armor and user is intact, he is immune to other world-class items. Additionally, so far only the Minotaur Sage and the 8 Greed Kings had no confirmed world items. So maybe this is the reason why people are pulled into the new world. You need such an incredible rare item to make the jump. But regardless of my speculations about why people are transported into a new fantasy world, this is quite interesting, because only a world-class item can protect its wielder from other world-class items. Because only a world-class item can protect its wielder from another world-class item. So maybe the death of one of their own and the loss of a world-class item started a blame game among the Greed Kings. And maybe the Theocracy played a part in it. It may have lost its last god, but the slain Theocracy still had a world-class item of their very own, Downfall of Castle and Country. The dress that was used to mind control Shaltir Bloodfallen. Imagine what kind of conflict the loss of one of their own and another mind-controlled king would have been able to start. Also think about what this truly means for history. The 8 Greed Kings might never have been greedy in the first place, nor drunk on the power that they now wielded. After all, they too protected mankind and built many new cities. Their bad image might have come at least in part from the Theocracy, who heavily twisted history in their favor. After all, they had a strong motive to do so. So in the end, Platinum Dragonlord might have avenged his kind by allying himself with the Theocracy in a pact of mutual revenge. He would take care of the world-class item, so that the Theocracy could mind control one of the 8 Greed Kings. But regardless if this theory is true or not, the supremacy of the Dragonlords was broken, beyond any repair. So centuries later, when the evil deities, a by comparison lesser threat, manifested and brought destruction and despair upon many countries, Platinum Dragonlord used an animated armor to fight against the evil spirits without exposing himself. And I believe this indirect approach was likely learned during the downfall of the 8 Greed Kings. So Platinum might have allied himself with the Theocracy once more, and he might have even founded the 13 Heroes. But how does a dragon ally himself with a humanocentric nation? Well, here's the thing. The subtle hint most of us will miss at first glance. Ainz Ooal Gown was repeatedly mistaken for a countryman of the slain Theocracy. This is due to his tree name pattern. It is the Theocracy's trademark, so to say. So Rigrid Bears Karu and Kino Fasris Inberun, aka Evil Eye, are from the Theocracy, which also would explain why Evil Eye, the vampire princess, viewed the Sunlight scripture in a rather positive light. And Platinum Dragonlord has good connections to Rigrid, and at least knows about Evil Eye, so I'm pretty sure that the stealthy Rigrid serves as a kind of ambassador. I mean, why else would the Theocracy have such accurate knowledge about Platinum Dragonlord, to the point that they know that using Zeshi, an offspring of an Yggdrasil player in war, might provoke a retaliatory action from Platinum Dragonlord against the Theocracy. And Platinum also might have been the co-founder of the Adventurer system, because he, in the disguise of his animated armor, was one of the 13 heroes himself. Additionally, and this is a truly brilliant point, Platinum directed the Might of Yggdrasil players against themselves. While the 13 heroes had many New World denizens among them, 2 of the legendary heroes were players themselves. And not only did they fight the evil spirits, one player killed off the other in the end. So it is very likely that Platinum Dragonlord learned his lesson. You don't fight against Yggdrasil players, you make them fight each other. And this is why I'm really concerned about his future action. Let's revisit the things that happens to Shaltir in the 3rd novel. Out of nowhere, a group with a mind-controlling world item shows up. The group is the Black Scripture and therefore obviously from the Theocracy, and they are here to mind control another resurrected hostile dragon lord, because their astrologist had a vision, and only after the mind-controlling effect of Downfall of Castle and Country, that might have been pretty effective in the past, failed partially, Platinum Dragonlord shows up as his animated armor in order to seize the opportunity to crush the still partially mind-controlled Shaltir in what he perceives was a moment of weakness, so he might already have conspired with the theocracy and pretty much everybody else to eradicate Nazarick and anything else of Yggdrasil origin. He did so in the past. He has a strong motive, the connections, and the will necessary to do so. Either this or I just went full on demiurge with my overinterpretation. By the way, speaking of him, while Platinum Dragonlord and the theocracy suspects that Momon of Darkness and Ainz Ooal Gown's kingdom are in cahoots, maybe due to a certain mistranslation, he likely isn't aware that the demon emperor Yaldabaoth is also one of Ainz's minions, so he therefore might have hoped that both forces would simply eradicate each other. And now that Yaldabaoth was seemingly killed by Ainz, he actually might make a serious move. Oh boy, I can't wait for the next light novel. Over and out.